Welcome to our special interview on West Africa Democracy Radio with me, Serikojang Jr. The security situation in the Gambia remains a major concern 6 months after former ruler Yahya Jammeh was forced to step down and go into exile. The concerns range from the possibility of attack by soldiers still loyal to the ex-president to the alleged lack of preparedness of the Gambian armed forces to resist any attack. President Adama Barrow is protected mainly by troops from sub-regional force ECOMIG, while the man who is tasked with the responsibility of sorting out the army is General Masaneh Kinteh, the Chief of Defense Staff of the Gambian Armed Forces. His military career began in 1990, and as a cadet officer, he attended the UK's prestigious Royal Military Academy in Sandhurst. He gradually rose through the ranks to become the Chief of Defense Staff in 2009. But Kinteh was removed by Jammeh on July 6, 2012 and was redeployed to Cuba as head of the Gambian diplomatic mission. During the December 2016 political impasse, he, along with 10 other Gambian ambassadors, signed a petition recognizing then-President-elect Adama Barrow and calling on Jammeh to step down after losing the December election. On January 25th, it was announced that Kinteh would serve as President Barrow's military AD. This was followed by his appointment as Chief of Defense Staff a little over a month later. General Masaneh Kinteh is my guest. General Masaneh Kinteh, welcome to West Africa Democracy Radio.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Bojang, for having me.
In July 2012, your position as CDS was cut short after your removal, and then before you were sent to Havana as head of Gambia's mission. When you were removed, your removal was announced. There was a lot of insinuation, speculation, even some reports that you were questioned by the NIA at the time. Why were you removed?
Well, I don't know. Up till today, I don't know the reason why I was removed. I was not told why I was removed. I was on a countrywide tour, that I enjoy very much. I like to visit my troops. I like to interact, with the soldiers, especially those who don't see me or they don't have the privilege to see a senior person, at that level on a daily basis. I like to meet them and to get to know them better, get to know their problems, and also, listen to their concerns. I was on that tour, and then I got called up, and it was on a Friday afternoon that I should end my tour and then report to Banjul as soon as possible. So this is, how the news was broken to me. And I just complied as a soldier that I was requested by the Commander-in-Chief, and I came back. Then I was given my letter by, the Permanent Secretary.
No reason?
And no reason was given. I was told that I've been, removed as the Chief of Defense Staff and then redeployed to the Foreign Service.
Would you have been happy to continue as Chief of Defense Staff at the time?
Of course, I would have been happy to continue because there were some very, very good programs that we started for the armed forces. The armed forces was into a lot of professional development of the soldiers. We were into training. We were into a lot of reforms that was really going to change the armed forces.
How about the reports that you were even questioned by the NIA at the time?
No, that was wrong. I was never questioned by the NIA. I was never.
And you were your relationship professionally with the Commander-in-Chief was intact, was good, according to my understanding. A lot of people, and your relationship with the army, especially junior soldiers, love you so much, and they so emotionally attached to you. Do you think it was an issue of erosion of confidence between the president and you at the time that resulted to your removal?
Well, anything that I would say in that regard would be maybe a speculation. I know I was removed prematurely Why I say prematurely? Because, there were some programs, and I was on the post for like little over 2 years. When I came in, we had a 4-year agenda that we wanted to transform the armed forces. And I was expecting, or I was thinking that I was going to see that those programs are through. Probably at the end of that, bringing in a new person or a new face, with the new energy and vigor was going to be a good idea, probably, but at the time, everything was going well for me, in the armed forces. I was getting the response that I needed, from the top military hierarchy all the way down to the grassroots. And also, more importantly, we were getting acknowledged, by the civil community. There have been a lot of important projects in the armed forces that we were able to implement. The Faraba project was just some few weeks before my relief, really. And everybody, saw that as a milestone in the armed forces, transformation. And it also cements the civil-military, relationship.
Were you hurt? Were you bitter about the removal?
No, I was not hurt. I was not bitter. I was a little bit sort of disappointed, I would put it that way. Like I said, because I couldn't see the programs through. But again, the mere fact that I was given an opportunity to still serve the government in a capacity, I think that was, sort of a consolation, so to speak. So.
And then that became Cuba as head of Gambian mission. You went. Fast forward the story. In January, you were named as President Adama Barrow's AD, and then you returned as CDS. What is the state of the Gambian army today?
Well, I would say the state of the Gambian armed forces today is that we have come off the impasse and trying to stabilize ourselves as a force. We are trying to ensure that we can provide the conditions necessary, for peace and security in this country. At the moment, we have started to do internal adjustments, to be able to position ourselves for the wider security sector reforms. I believe the security sector reform cannot be done in small pockets or in isolated corners. I think it should be a global and a holistic approach that would reform the entire security spectrum, from the security sector management, to the security sector players. But again, each and every individual component of that also needs to embark on internal, adjustments to be able to position, the institution to fit into the wider reforms. And this is what I've been doing in the past days.
How about the morale of the soldiers at the moment? Because when you came, you say your top priority was to lift the morale of the soldiers.
Yes, I think we have achieved some success in that. I can confirm that when I went around the country and I was able to interact with the troops, they were having a lot of things, on their minds, some of which are apprehensive, others are not too clear on issues. But again, engaging them and discussing those difficult issues.
Well, will that include loyalty issues, or would you admit there are still soldiers, maybe a pocket, who are still not loyal to this government and the president because of the past?
Yeah, obviously, that was, at the heart of the issue. If you look at the sort of transition that we went through, especially as it affects the armed forces, you would agree with me, there will be some residual anger and frustration, but that is all as a result of not clearly understanding, what is going to happen. And some of them, of course, were,
Subscribe for more news.
They are comfortable with, and the change would not be seen to be in their favor.
And the part of the change is bringing in some old hands, those who were in the army were sacked or were in jail and released or involved in something, and they're back in the army, some of them senior officials. You receive some amount of criticisms about this, especially on the social media, people saying it's a wrong move or even is selective justice. How do you react?
Well, all those things were done out of good faith. It has not been selective. We have done it based on the principle that there should be redress of some of the past injustices. We all know the system that, we have come through, and this affected the entire population, not only the members of the armed forces. It affected all sectors of the society. So if there is a relook to be able to redress, the wrongs of the past, I don't think that can only affect one sector and not the other. So we are also looking at ourselves. The armed forces have been a victim. Elements of the armed forces, have been victim of, excessive and arbitrary actions, from the former regime. There is no doubt about that. So those are some of the, issues that we revisited, and the ones that we are convinced that they were not based on anything, solid against the person, and the person does not have any criminal record, and the person is still in the right mind frame, has the requisite fitness, medically, mentally, psychologically, to be able to come back and serve the country in the capacity.
But it doesn't matter if the person is out of the army for, let's say, 10 years.
It doesn't matter whether you are out of the army for 10, 20 years, for as long as, you are within the capacity to be able to serve and contribute something positive towards the armed forces as an organization, we welcome you.
Some are insinuating those that, have just been reinstated back into the army might be victimized by Sol who are in the army during Jammeh's time, and then a matter of a perpetrator meeting a victim and working under the same force.
Yes, I know those concerns are there, but we have identified those concerns, and we are dealing with them. At some point, we all have to reconcile ourselves. At some point, we all have to, open a fresh page and then move on. This is the approach that we have taken. And then this issue is been addressed, and we are very much committed in ensuring that we opened up those channels where people are going to learn to forgive and then move on.
This intel report, supposedly from Senegalese authorities, that there might be deserters, former soldiers of the Gambia National Army or soldiers of the Gambia National Army who left the country with former President Jammeh and are now in Guinea-Bissau, Guinea-Conakry, and Mauritania, and might launch an attack on the Gambia. Are you aware of this, and should Gambians be concerned about this?
Any information on the threat to national security or the survival of the government of the day is taken very, very seriously, and I can tell you that we are making every plan in ensuring that we are able to provide the secure environment that the country needs to move on. We are aware of some of these so-called information or rumors that there are people here and there making plans to attack the Gambia. We don't take those things lightly. But again, we should also be realistic. All right, you don't expect that, a regime that has been here for 22 years can just be uprooted, and then just goes into oblivion without any concern about that. I use the Kukui issue. Kukui was a threat to this country from 1981 up to his last days, when he was even on his dying bed, so to speak. People were still considering him as a threat, to this country. So we know this is going to be a threat that is going to be there for a very long time. But again, let us try to, act on things which are founded or which are grounded in reality. Because if you are looking at the people coming from the Gambia Armed Forces, we are going through our record almost on a monthly basis, just to look at what is the strength of the armed forces, how many people are leaving the armed forces, where are they going, what sort of people, they are. Will that, constitute a threat to national security? These are some of the things that we are looking at. If you are telling me, or if there was one, report that has indicated a number way over 300, soldiers who have left the armed forces, I can tell you the records are very clear. We have it. The number of soldiers who have left, since the political impasse up to now is well below 100.
But some say there might be ghost soldiers within the army, some that were recruited through the back door or wherever, not the normal route, and the army might not be aware of these people, and then, for example, they're part of the junglers. Couldn't that be a possibility?
Well, we are not ruling out anything as a possibility, because we know the type of system that was in existence at the time. A lot of things are unclear, but I can tell you from a professional point of view what we assess as a threat to national security. If it is coming from the armed forces, and if it is coming from the dissidents, or the people who left the armed forces and went and joined, some other organizations, elsewhere, I can tell you we have our plans in place, and we will be working in close partnership with our neighbors in the sub-region and other places to ensure that we stay on top of the game. We are here to secure this country as an institution, and we will spare no effort. We will spare no fiber in our being in ensuring that we are able to protect the Gambian people.
Some say we are safe now because economic troops are here, and once they leave, we are in trouble. General, are we in trouble once the economic troops leave?
No, we are not in trouble. As a country, this is a transition period that we are going through. All right, we have economic in the country, and we know the reasons why they are here. And there are things that we need to do as a country, as a government, as institutions. We are undergoing those reforms. Give us a little time. By the time we are through with our reforms, the Gambian people will know that the Gambia Armed Forces is back to take care of the security of this country without any fear at all. We can guarantee that. ECOMIC can leave, and they will know that the conditions, have ripe for them to leave and allow the sons and daughters of this country, who have no other place apart from Gambia as their homeland, to take charge of securing this country.
General Kinteh, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bojang. It's a pleasure speaking to you.
That was General Masaneh Kinteh, the Chief of Defense Staff of the Gambia Armed Forces, and we were discussing about the state of the army in the so-called New Gambia. I'm Masaneh Kinteh Jr., and from all of us here in West African Democracy Radio, thanks for listening, and bye-bye.